Hello, good day. Are you familiar with this design of socks? Can you tell the name of this children's show on TV? Were you also amazed by sellers on the street with their cow carrying all their goods? If you can relate to these stuff, you must be born in the 80s like me. I used to wear this kind of socks when I was in elementary. The episodes of Patibot taught me a lot of lessons as a kid, and I enjoyed my window shopping as the kuya seller with his cow carrying a huge cart would stop in our street to show us his goods and other stuff that we could buy from him. These are some of the stuff I remember as I was born in the 80s. Hi there, I'm Lourdes Jihan and Credo, and I'm currently enrolled in MEM 604 Educational Laws, Practices, Trends, and Issues. Let us talk about Education Act of 1982, or Batas Pambansa Bilang 232. This was officially enacted into law on September 11, 1982. This act formally structured the Philippine educational system, governs both formal and non-formal educational systems across public and private schools at all levels, and it has 70 plus section legal document. Let's talk about Part 1, or the general provisions. This section outlines the state's fundamental philosophy regarding education and set the national development goals that schools must strive to meet. Section 3, Declarations of Basic Policy. The law explicitly states that the government shall ensure the maximum contribution of the educational system to the attainment of the following national developmental goals. And what are these goals? First, to achieve and maintain an accelerating rate of economic development and social progress. Second, to ensure the maximum participation of all the people in the attainment and enjoyment of the benefits of such growth. And third, to achieve and strengthen national unity and consciousness and preserve, develop, and promote desirable cultural, moral, and spiritual values in changing world. The state shall promote the right of every individual to relevant quality education regardless of sex, age, creed, social economic status, physical and mental conditions, racial or ethnic origin, political or other affiliation. The state shall therefore promote and maintain quality of access to education as well as the enjoyment of the benefits of education by all its citizens. The state shall promote the right of the nation's cultural communities in the exercise of their right to develop themselves within the context of their cultures, customs, traditions, interests, and belief, and recognizes education as an instrument for their maximum participation in national development and ensuring their involvement in achieving national unity. The Act formally recognizes four key stakeholders that make up the educational ecosystem, outlining specific rights and responsibilities for each. So, Section 6 is about definition and coverage of the educational unit, or what we call the stakeholders. So, when we say educational community, it refers to those persons or groups of persons such as or associated in institutions involved in organized teaching and learning systems. So first, let's talk about the students. So these are the educational community. So the students, we have the parents, school personnel, and school. So as I mentioned, let's talk about first the students. Let's talk about the key rights. And along the rights, of course, there must be key obligations and duties. So, what are the rights of the students? Receive their rights are to receive competent instruction and quality education, free choice of study subject to prerequisites, access to official record or school records within 30 days of request, publish student newspapers and form peaceful organizations. What are their key obligations or duties? Exert utmost effort to develop their potential, uphold academic integrity and follow school rules, promote and maintain school peace and tranquility, and participate actively in civic and community affairs. So, these are the key rights and obligations of the students. So, when we say students, who are the students? So, when we say students, these are learners who are enrolled in and who regularly attend an educational institution or secondary or higher level, or a person engaged in formal study. When we say pupils, these are those who regularly they are those who regularly attend a school of elementary level under the supervision and tutelage of a teacher. So next member of the educational community, let's talk about the parents. When we say parents or guardians, they are the ones the head. They are the head of the institution or foster home which has custody of the pupil or student. So the parents, they also have rights and obligations. What are the key rights of the parents? So parents have the right to form parent teacher association or PTA, access to official records regarding their children's academic performance. And what are their duties? Enable children to obtain at least elementary education. Help carry out educational objectives in line with national goals and cooperate with school authorities. So, the first member of the educational community are the students, second, the parents, and now let's talk about the third one, the school personnel or the teachers and staff. So when we say school personnel, these are the persons working for educational institution, which includes the following. First, teacher or academic staff. So these are the persons engaged in actual teaching and or research assignments either on full-time or part-time basis in all levels of the educational system. And when we say school personnel, aside from teachers and academic staff, we also this also refers to the school administrators or all persons occupying policy implementing positions having to do with the functions of the school in all levels. So we have the teachers, school administrators, and also we also have the academic or non-teaching personnel, or those persons holding some academic qualifications and performing academic functions directly supportive of teaching, such as registrars, librarians, guidance counselors, researchers, research assistants, research aides, and similar stuff. Then, last but not the least, the non academic personnel or all other school personnel not falling under the definition and coverage of teaching and academic staff, school administrators, and academic non teaching personnel. So, to to have a quick overview, when we say school personnel, again, these include the teaching staff or academic staff, school administrators, academic non-teaching personnel, and non-academic personnel. So what are their key rights? Their key rights are they have the right to free expression and professional advancement, right to be free from coercive involuntary contributions, and due process in administrative or disciplinary actions. What are their obligations? Render competent and effective service, refrain from making arbitrary deductions in student ratings for non academic acts, and help shape the learner's moral and academic growth. And of course, last but not the least, the next stakeholder we're going to talk about is the school. So when we say school, what are these are the institution where the students will enroll and where the school personnel will are working. So school, what are the rights of the school? The school has the right to academic freedom or higher learning institutions, and they have the right to set up institutional policies and regulations. And these are their duties: maintain high quality standards through periodic evaluations, and provide safe and functional facilities conducive to learning. So that discusses the part two, or the educational community, their rights and duties. Now let's talk about part three, the educational system. This section legally defines the levels of education in the Philippines and establishes what each level is legally required to achieve. So we have the primary, elementary education, that is the first level. So this stage provides the core basic education. So it has a span of 6 years, comprising of 4 years of primary and 2 years of intermediate education, focusing on fundamental literacy, numeracy, and initial social values. So let's talk about um, the, the elementary education. It is under the formal education. So it is compulsory, aimed at providing basic knowledge, skills, and values essential to personal development and necessary for living and in a changing social milieu. So that's elementary education. After the elementary education, the second level is the secondary education. The secondary education is also a mandatory of 4 year expansion of basic education designed to follow elementary education. This stage introduces more advanced academic disciplines, vocational concepts, and preparation for either the workforce or higher studies. So, in other words, the secondary education aimed to continuing elementary objectives, discovering student aptitudes and equipping them with skills for productive endeavor or preparation for tertiary schooling. Next is the tertiary education, or the third level. So this is the highest level, encompassing post-secondary degree and non-degree programs. This includes undergraduate and graduate courses managed by colleges and universities to foster specialist professions and academic expertise. So in other words, the tertiary education aimed at providing a general education program to promote national identity, training, and nation's manpower, and advancing knowledge through research. So part three is in the educational system is the non-formal and specialized education. So beyond the standard classroom track outlined above, the 1982 Act explicitly created parallel networks to ensure education reached everyone. So that's why they included the non-formal education. So what do we mean by non-formal education? When we say non-formal education, a specialized track designed for those who cannot participate in standard schooling, such as adult learners, school dropouts, and out of school youth. So it focuses on functional literacy and essential livelihood skills. So the non formal education and specialized education, um, because this educational act mandates the state to provide services to those who cannot undergo formal schooling. That's why they designed they included in this act the non-formal and specialized education. So as I mentioned earlier, for non-formal education, these includes the unemployed youth and adults, providing them vocational and technical skills and functional literacy. Next is the special education, or SPED. So special education, this is the systematic delivery of educational services tailored for exceptional learners. Who are these exceptional learners? Both gifted individuals and those with physical mental, or sensory impairments. So the special education specifically mandated to serve individual with exceptional physical, mental, or sensory conditions, not only them but also the gifted individuals. At the time of passing in 1982, this act placed the entire system under the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, or MEX. So, to give you a quick overview of how the education system looked like during that time, so the Ministry of Education, Culture, and Sports, or MEX, is the one governing or taking care of all the levels in education during the time in the educational system. So under the MEX are the formal education, non-formal education, and the specialized education. As I discussed earlier, under the formal education are the elementary, followed by the secondary and tertiary level. Then under the non-formal education, these are the youth who are already adult and unemployed who want to study skills and who cannot go and enroll in formal education. And the specialized education or the SPED. These are individuals with exceptional physical, mental, and sensory conditions and the gifted individuals. So these the all of them, the formal education, non-formal education, and the specialized education were under MEX during the time. So to give a historical context about Education Act of 1982, the administrative structure of BP 232 was heavily modified in the 1990s by the trifocalization of education. So today, the powers originally granted to MEX in BP 232 are split between three agencies. Now, what we have the DepEd, or Department of Education, which takes care of the basic education, manages the basic education, and then now we have the CHED, or higher education. They are taking care of the universities and colleges, and the TESDA, or the technical vocational education. So they are the ones taking care and looking after the different skills, different skills and certifications under those kinds of different skills. So going back to Education Act of 1982, let's talk about Part 4, or the administration and finance. Financial provision. Ownership. Educational institutions, except those established by religious groups or mission boards, must be owned solely by citizens of the Philippines or corporations with at least 60% Filipino capital. Regarding tax exemptions, revenues, and assets of non-stock, non-profit educational institutions used directly and exclusively for educational purposes are exempt from taxes and duties. If you want to read the raw, unedited legal text of Education Act of 1982, you can access the full transcript at the website, the Supreme Court e-library. Before I end this discussion, let me give you this Bible verse to ponder. Obey them that have the rule over you. From Hebrews 13, verse 17. We are teachers, and we have we have DepEd, who are governing our schools, our institutions, or if we are in CHED, we have CHED who governs our institutions. So let us obey the people who have the rule over us, because that is mentioned in the Bible, Hebrews 13, verse 17. Let us try our best to deliver what is expected to us, and let us offer everything to God, so that we will be also be able to be we will also be a good example to our students. That's the end of my report. God bless you, and see you next time.